Welcome to Dial a Shovel, your local residential snow removal service. Please contact us if you have any questions. We look forward to helping you keep your property safe and clear. Our number is 774-634-6200.
Hey. Welcome everybody to the Really Charlie podcast. And today's guest is Hendrick Hernandez-Resto. This man is clearly one of my favorite artistic people within this city of New Bedford, Massachusetts. And this I couldn't wait to get him on there. And I don't know how I missed him within the 365 days of existence on the Really Charlie podcast. But he is here now, and we are gonna highlight this man, this young man to me. But he's definitely the one of the good guys that I like listening to, only because he has that lyrical language that I listen to. And I'm not trying to turn. I don't want to turn off anybody from this city, but sometimes you got to. But this man has what I like. What's up, brother? Hold on. I think I muted you. Hold on. I think I muted you.
I might have muted myself. Thank you for having me, Charlie. How are you?
Nice to hear you. Nice to see you.
Yes.
How's the family?
Family's fantastic. Baby girl is coming along, developing the way she should. She's asking me, what's that every 2 minutes. My son is doing fantastic, developing as he should, you know what I mean, with the autism and all. He's doing fantastic. Wife is doing good. I'm in good health, I'm in good wealth, I'm in good company, so I'm feeling myself, you know what I'm
saying? Awesome. Autism. We gotta have you on here, and talk about that autism.
We could talk about it now,
whenever. Actually, you know what, that's part of you. This is you. So
yes, it is.
Highlight you. Whatever you want to talk about, if I ask a question that leads to something that you want to listen and learn, or teach us about autism, rapping, music, artistry,
all of it.
It's all of the above on the Really Charlie podcast.
Excellent.
All right. So reality said I had to get you on here, and I felt
Shout out
them
those
instantly.
Brothers.
Yep, I felt them instantly. And the craziest thing is, I've known all of them since they were young, since they were just learning how to breathe. And here they are. They're on my podcast. We all become friends, and I'm very, very proud of them. And I gotta say, I'm proud of you too with VHS tapes. That was nice, man. And
thank you.
It didn't take me, one or two takes of it. It instantly grabbed me. It got my take. I'm saying, all right, I like this. Some songs, some tracks come on, and you gotta listen to it once or twice. Okay, now I got it, but not with VHS tapes. I loved it. I love the collaboration.
Thank you.
And I hope that you all do some more collaboration, because it's a combination of great sounds, great voices, all coming together, and there's no similarity in all of you. I know when you're coming on. I just know when everybody's bizarre is coming. I got it. I got the voices down packed. So, so who inspired you to do all this?
To come into rapping, it was a life circumstance. I got to be honest. My parents, and I love my mom, Wanda Resto, Angel Adorno. I love you guys. I'm gonna name drop like crazy. So let's keep count. That's two right there, right? My parents at that time were separating, and my older sister's boyfriend, Jose Moreno. That's 3 name drops in the first 5 minutes. Jose Moreno took me under his wing, and he saw that I was hurting a lot. So he like a good older sister's boyfriend should, brought me down to what was Andrea McCoy Rec Center. It was West Side at the time, and we used to go downstairs to box. And then when we were waiting for his mom to pick us up, we would break dance and freestyle. And that's like the real first live introduction to hip hop that I got. A couple of weeks of doing that, right? A couple of times doing that, we ended up in my house breakdancing.
Yep.
He puts on this instrumental. We're breakdancing, and I instantly start rapping about my parents getting divorced and how it felt, right? And he froze right there, and he was like, "You need to rap that for your mother." And I was like, no. Like, this is the first time I'm rapping, number one. Number two, I don't want my mom to know what I feel about what's going on. But he made me. A couple of days later, I rapped for my mother and my aunt. And it was a freestyle. It was just what I was feeling. I don't know that I rhymed, Charlie. I got to be honest. I don't even think that I rhymed. My cadence was right. My rhythm was right. And what I was saying was felt. My aunt and my mother cried. And that was like one of my first experiences with hip hop. That's really what made me take off. Is I wanted to deliver that feeling a lot.
Yeah.
And then I got to be honest, the first artist that I feel ever made me want to get better was Nas. Nas was like the first. I never heard somebody rap so smooth, so righteous, so real. It wasn't like, I hate saying the word soft, but it didn't come off like that. It didn't come off too tough. It was realistic. It was artistic. It was beautiful. It was poetry. It was that was the first artist that really made me want to be an MC, was Nas. So much so I named my son after Nas. I named my son Nazir because everybody that knows Hendrick knows that he loves Nas. That's one thing that they know. So that experience rapping for my mother, and then I think the song that really made me pick it up was John Blaze, was a song by Big Pun and Fat Joe featuring Raekwon, Jadakiss, and Nas had the first verse. And I just remember hearing that, and that's the first time that I remember saying, I don't think I could ever rap that well. I've eclipsed that. I'm nice. You know what I'm saying? I'm very good at what I do. I'm very confident at that. So I look back at that young Hendrick and I smile at him and I go, well, you're good, kid. You're all set. But that was the first song I believe in the first experience that I ever had that I said, nah, man, I gotta rhyme. Even if I don't get famous, if I don't make money, it doesn't matter. I gotta rhyme because I feel it in my stomach.
Okay, I got you. The earliest, let me see. Do you have any VHS tapes of you or digital of you performing at a very young age?
So my musical history is really odd because while I was raised in the projects, we lived in Satellite Village my whole life pretty much until my parents moved to Westport and I moved in with my girlfriend my wife who I've been with for 16 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. The first musical experiences that I had myself were playing piano. My parents stuck me into piano. I had a 2-parent household for a long time, and my dad was adamant about making me play an instrument, and it was piano. He wanted me to play piano. I did not. He stuck me in it, and I took piano lessons 2, maybe 3 times a week at the music shop on Belleville Ave, which is now, I think it's a temping agency now. When I drive by it makes me so sad. But back then, I used to take piano lessons there with a gentleman named Peter, and I hated it at first, and then I fell in love with it. Now, I'm in the middle of the projects. Everybody's listening to hip hop. All my brothers and, all my friends and cousins are all listening to rap. And I'm listening to Bach and Billy Joel. And I was really out of place at that time, I felt. But it was a really good musical foundation for me, I think, because it helped me as a producer later on, much later on, but a lot more than I think most people I can really give credit to verbally. From there, my parents wouldn't let me listen to secular music. Non-secular music. If it was worldly music, I was not allowed to listen to it. We were a Pentecostal Christian household, and we couldn't listen to anything that had to do it. I had trouble listening to NSYNC. So the earliest bit of music that I got was Top 40 radio, sneaking it in my bedroom, which Top 40 radio, Phone 107 in the 90s was not giving you a lot of rap. They gave you Big Pun featuring Joe, right? And they would cut out Big Pun's part and they would play the chorus and Joe's part. And I would be so sad because I'm like, man, there's my representation. But it was hard. It was really hard. So no, I did not. The videos of me performing early were me doing like dance. I was into dance. I was dancing a lot and I was playing piano. And then I decided to quit playing piano because I went into piano class one day, Charlie, and I told my teacher I wanted to. My dad goes, "Oh, Hendrick's into rap music," to my teacher, and my teacher says, "You can't play rap music on piano." And I say, "You can play the instrumentation." And he said, "No, no, no." And he starts kind of like mocking me for it. And I quit. Immediately, I was turned off. I was like, you can't tell me what I can and can't do musically. I'm going to figure this out on my own. And I left the piano world. I still play. And I can play okay, but not too great. But the first earliest remembrance of me on music was me dancing to like NSYNC records and then playing piano. The earliest video that I can give you of me rapping was 12th grade in high school. There was a talent show. You popular man. No, don't worry about that, brother. There was a talent show. Myself and Frederick S. Holla, Frederick Hallelujah, one of my brothers, another name drop. We performed and they filmed it. And my sister had a video and I remember watching it over and over and over and over. That's the first time. That's 2006. I had been rapping. I had been rapping since 2000. So it took me a little bit. I got into the game late because my parents were like, no rap for you. You're listening to Christian music. Here you go.
It's all good, you know. Your time is determined by the Lord up above, you know.
Exactly.
And regardless of how fast we want it to come or how slow we, you know, want to stop the process, it's not our decision, you know. And
no,
your timing was, your time is good because
thank you.
Who knows if earlier you would have had what you needed. Maybe you would have made some hasty decisions that might have been hurting you now where you're the best of what you have to offer is right now, I think.
I think that you're correct because I came into it at an age where I was maturing. I was rhyming as I got into junior high school in the midst of my parents' divorce. I was like 11, you know, I'm 33 now. So you're talking about 22 years of me writing rhymes in notebooks. So I tend to look at it like, regardless of when I got started, there's 22 years under my belt. Nobody can take that from me. But you're right. I didn't get into it at such an adolescent age, in my opinion, that I let it manipulate maybe how I was going to feel or act or, you know, I'm a positive individual. I come from positive people. Are there traumas in my life? Absolutely. A lot of us have traumas, but those traumas didn't define me. And I chose to remain positive, and positive music was what really influenced me to take it even further.
True. I love that. I love it. Let me see. My first impression of you is a leader. So
thank you.
As you're a leader, all right, and you come around, and now you're thinking and you're brainstorming all these different collaborations, something like VHS tapes.
Yes.
So now you're a leader, but you're on the other side. You're on your artistic side, you know. So now you have all these heads, all these different brains going on. Is it easier for you or is it hard for you to follow instead of lead, or even reverse, you know, or lead and let them follow? Is it hard for you or is it easy?
I think for a long time at first, it was very hard for me to follow because I felt like I had all these ideas and these like I wanted to highlight certain things in hip hop that I felt weren't being highlighted to the best of its ability. Everybody has a voice, and all these narratives were being spoken at this time. But the most of the narratives that I was listening to growing up put people from the inner city and lower incomes in this box where it made us all look like we were okay with criminality.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to assemble music around the idea that not all of us were like that,
True.
where, not everybody's punching you in the face the second that you cross the line. Some of us are forgiving. A lot of us are loving. A lot of us are caring. A lot of us can have sides that are softer, and we approach life differently. The idea that everybody from the hood is snarling their lip and that nobody's smiling at nothing and that
Mm-hmm.
everything's ugly is one that I never took kindly to and I never bought into. And I fought against a lot because I'm like, man, here I am. Am I doing something wrong? Am I not living in the same neighborhood? Am I not having the same experiences? Maybe not. But even with that, I still saw people like Q-Tip and
Mm-hmm.
Fight Dog and Tribe Called Quest and Farside and
Mm-hmm.
leaders of the new school and just native tongues, period. They all came from hard places. They came from places where I like to consider a lot harder than what I came from. And they still had a beautiful way of looking at things. Moni Love, Queen Latifah, these people, KRS, who started off real hardcore, right? And then lost Scott LaRock and decided, I'm going to change this, and self-destruction. And those narratives spoke to me so much louder. Now, I wanted to push those narratives. So I always found it very hard to follow because I felt like the easier route for a lot of rappers was to follow that narrative.
True.
And just to kind of stick to this one-sidedness where I'm like, man, you know how many people from the hood love anime? You know how many people from the hood love to draw, love to act, love drama, it's not just rapping and basketball, which is crazy because I'm really good at both. And I really enjoy both. I really do. I enjoy both thoroughly. I'm a massive Celtics fan. I played basketball in satellite every chance that I could. And I wrote rhymes in my bedroom until I couldn't write rhymes anymore. But I still felt like there was a part of me that wanted to lead my brothers and my sisters on this quest to add more dynamicism, if you will, to our portrait, because it just seemed very one-dimensional. I will say that I came into contact with a lot of people who I allowed to lead me. Eric Andrade is another name drop. Eric Andrade is a person who I allowed to lead me in a lot of ways. Ian Morgan is a person who I allowed to lead me, and I lead him. Ian Morgan, another name drop. My brother Damian DePeace, when I was coming out of what I like to call my little mini retirement a couple of years ago after my son was born, I asked Damian, what do I need? And Damian led me step by step. I'll say my homie Knowledge out of Fall River. He led me in ways. Chris Revelation Figueroa from EMS Crew led me in ways. He gave me knowledge. He dropped knowledge on me. So I think that as I grew, I allowed both dynamics to play. Wear as many hats as you can. I'm a producer and I'm a rapper and I'm an engineer. I'm all these different things. Why can't I be a leader and a follower?
True.
Right? If I wake up this moment at 5 o'clock and I need to lead, but at 6:30 I need to follow, then that's what needs to be done. If that's what needs to be done, I will say I find it harder to follow. To answer your question, I absolutely find it harder to follow. But there are personalities that I jump on board with. Peter Linnell Walker is one of those personalities where if he's leading the march, you're not going to hear a peep from me. I'm following the God. The God is leading, and that's what. And if at any point he looked at me and said, Hendrick, grab the microphone and lead the way, then I know it's my time. But there's a balance to all of this. I hate to follow as much as I love to lead a lot more. But as I grow older, I see the value in following. Wasn't I following Malcolm a bit? Wasn't I following Ali and Bill Russell? Wasn't I following what Kobe said? Wasn't I following what Nas taught me? I'm following every single day that I wake up. So I it's something that I needed to accept.
So true. And I like that.
Thank you.
I like it. So I'll give myself 5 stars for that
Thank you.
question because of the answer that I got.
Hey, that question, fantastic question.
We um I've been trying to do many things
Mm,
since I retired, and this podcast thing has actually been something that came to mind, and I've been inspired by some of my friends and some of the things that they done on an early age, like early time, like with Brian Magnet, as we call him, B Mags,
mm,
with him doing his thing with and now he's with WMB1 radio, and he's allowed me to go into that platform and play music, play the R&B
mm,
music. Um, so the podcast thing, I was inspired to do it, and it led to this.
mm.
Have so many different things I want to do, like songwriting and it's there. The thoughts are there. It's just me trying to figure out how to format and get it right,
Yeah,
and I have people behind me that are going to actually guide me with that.
good.
So, what is the one thing that you're looking to do in 2022 um, that someone else inspired you or just got you going? Got you brainstorming about it. I got to do this. I got to do. It's my bucket list. It's on that bucket list. What's the one thing?
VHS tapes. VHS tapes really put a battery in my back to collaborate because I
Okay.
don't collaborate much with people that aren't in my immediate circle, right? And in my immediate circle is very small because it's supposed to be by design. It's just supposed to be a tight knit group of my brothers and sisters. Um, VHS tapes is one of my goals. It has me wanting to achieve a certain goal. One of them that I want to achieve for 2022 is to collaborate more. Because when Matt Martinez, when he hit me up, I initially had said I don't have the time because at that time I was just plotting coming back. I
Hmm.
was just getting my feet wet. And I was like, I don't know that I have it in me to show up on this record right now. I'm doubting myself. Oh my God, what is happening? And I had other ideas in mind already in place. And the way my brain works is I already had A, B, and C. So A, B, and C has to get done before I go to D. I
Hmm.
can't commit to D because I don't know where I'm at right now in A, B, or C. I'm meddling with all of them, and that's not necessarily the best way, but it's my method.
Yeah.
Um, so I told him no initially. And then he came back and messaged me again a couple of weeks later and said, there's still time. I really want you on this. So I kind of like slapped myself in the face and I said, Hendrick, let's go.
Hmm.
There's no, you're not doing this right now. You're not gonna chicken out. Let's go. So I gave myself a nice little sturdy talking to. And I said, send me the instrumental. So he sends me this amazing instrumental from Shay Decatur, who's
Yeah.
out in California. Shout out Shay Decatur with the amazing
Yeah.
production. And he tells me in the message also, Matt does, that Gremlin's gonna be on it. And I'm like, okay, this is a big deal for me because
Yeah.
that's an OG.
Yeah.
That's an OG. And several years ago, I remember telling Gremlin at Miller's Homeport, man, I'm just trying to be where you are, legacy-wise, in the city. And I know sometimes to other rappers, to other people, New Bedford is small potatoes, but between lyricists, we care. Like
Yeah.
we care. A lot of us care about what we leave behind as a reputation and a legacy in New Bedford. I know mine is one of a bit of inconsistency. I know that. But even then, Gremlin blessed me by saying, "You've been doing this for a long time. You had your ciphers on the corner. You are a god. You one of the legends here." Linnell introduced me a couple of times like that, and I felt really proud of myself. But I
Hmm.
feel like to add on to that legacy, I need to expand and I need to collaborate with other people. Luckily, Matt was persistent, and I delivered the verse to him, right? Um, and I I was like, I want first verse. I want the
Yeah.
first verse. I need the first verse, Matt. And He was beautiful enough to let me have first verse. He sent me the record and everybody did so well. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm kind of happy I went first. I don't want to have to go after any of those verses. But I knew that I was going to be on the record with a lot of other people. So I decided to write it a certain way so that I can silently, I was competing against all of them. You know, I think they know. I think it's something that all rappers do. We all compete. I always compete. But that was one of the things that I said in my mind. I need to collaborate more. So I know that the album that I'm going to be releasing in 4 days, The Accumulation of Hendrick Hernandez, I don't have any collaborations on it because I wanted to kind of put a cap on that era of moving like that, right? I wanted to do my last 4 songs alone. Not that I'm not going to ever do a solo song again, but it's just my goal to collaborate more this year is going to be something I'm going to do. It's going to be and it was absolutely spurred by reality featuring me on that record. It was a big deal for me for somebody to ask me. So I feel like I need to return that energy back to the earth and make other people feel the way I was made feel.
Awesome.
And then I think the other goal that I do have is I want to collaborate with more females and more women. I want to collaborate with more women in the sense that I don't feel like enough women's voices are being propelled. It's a predominantly male palette. And I want to assist as many young women as I can. Young women, doesn't matter the age. I want to assist with production. I want to give out beats. I know I did some last year. Amanda, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Amanda. It's a very complicated last name, Amanda. I always skip this. Her stage name is Testify. She recorded on one of my records, and that's another name drop. She, it felt so good to expand that range of voices, right? I want to collaborate with more women. I want to expand that in a completely safe environment as much as I possibly can. So collaborate with more people, period, but to push female voices and not necessarily me be on the record. Just push their voices. I'm here for that.
True. If you, as you're going along and trying to, look for that female voice, that female artist, you may hear something. You may hear that voice, but they need your lyrics.
I'm willing to throw it on there, man. I'm willing to collaborate in any way, shape, or form. I just want the young lady to be, or I want the woman to be the focal point of the record at all times for me, because I don't think that those voices are being pushed enough.
Good. I agree. Now, as you're thinking about doing the collaboration, who's on that collaboration top shelf for you?
Top shelf for me, off the top, the people who helped me record my VHS tapes verse, I need to repay because that was a beautiful thing. So Jay Rifa, that's my brother. We're in a collective that we like to call the 48 Ronin. If you need to know what the 48 means, I'm a big believer in the supreme mathematics and the 5% nation of gods and earth. So I like to add the supreme math into a lot of the things that I do in the 4 and 8. If you know anything, if you want to look it up, I want people to look it up. Look it up in supreme mathematics, what 4 means and what 8 means, and that's the mathematics behind that. Ronin, Ronin is a warrior samurai who was disbanded from the kind of like the rule of the government, and he runs alone, and that's kind of what this collective is. So me and Jay Rifa, I want to throw Jay Rifa on a record. I want to throw Raf Ramirez, who was with me in The Kill. He's part of the collective. I want to throw him on a record, and we're definitely going to do it. My homie Kyle McPherson, aka Bristol County Cassius Castro, as many different million names as my brother has, he needs to be on a record. I want to bring Damien DePeace on a record from Mirror Monster. I want to bring him back because he's in 48 Ronin as well. I have a laundry list. Silaw, I need you. Khalif, I need you. These are the dream. These are like the dream collaborations. Sky King, Vernon Gilmet, these need to jump on something with him. D Staley, however anybody's gonna say it. My man Darnell, the God, need him on the record. Thorn Freitas, it's been a couple of years. We need to be on something. Libsy, Tragic Montalvo, LJ We Bang Gang, Brizo Finesse, Chan with the Plan. I have a laundry list. I'm already watching all of yous, and I'm gonna reach out to all of yous. Last but not least, my brother Sky Bento. I want to see him on a record with me. I'd like to surprise people and throw Mike Montero on a record. Eric Andrade, Doc Leck. I got a laundry list, man. I love you all. I'm a big fan of all of you, man. And I believe me, I was thinking about your names before this because I thought Charlie's gonna ask me. Chris Revelation Figueroa, Knowledge, you two, we need to link up. These are people that I absolutely love and I'm a massive fan of. And I want to make my next record, which I'm going to name The Ascension of Hendrick Hernandez, one of those records where you hear a million people on, because it's going to be a collective effort. It's got to be for the neighborhood, for the community.
Nice. That's very, very nice. That list is nice.
Thank you.
You just created a nice list for me. I'm gonna be nice. Let me write down this name. Let me check out this person.
Yeah. All those people are absolutely worthy. I mean, Khalif is a Grammy Award-winning artist. You know, it would be an honor. It would be nothing short of an honor to have Khalif on a record. And of course, I produce all of my own records, so it would be nothing short of an honor to have those people rap on records with me. Amanda, we need to do a record. Again, I don't see, this is my problem. This is why I want to push more female voices. I did not name a single female voice there, right? Because I couldn't think of any. Nancita from Blessed Energy, she's an amazing artist. I would love to have her on a record as well as Blessed Energy, Tem Blessed and DJ Angeli. Those are brothers of mine. But see, this is why I want to push more female voices, because I don't know enough, and I want to be one of the people leading that, even if I don't get any credit, even if my name doesn't show up on anything. I just want to push these voices, because you see, I gave you a laundry list, and I don't think I put a single female name in there.
And you know what? That's not a discredit to you. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And I don't want you to feel that way, because they're out there. We know they're out there.
Yes, they are. I'm looking for y'all.
And what I'm getting at is they need a push, but the best steps you take in life is your own steps. So as you know, and you can push and push and push, and this one, that one. I gotta get you. I gotta get you behind this mic, and I want to hear your voice. If they never make it to the stage, guess what? We don't hear them. So, you know, and that's what I mean by no discredit to you, because, you know, the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink. And, you know, it's, you just, that list is amazing, only because when I start thinking of things, and it all goes back to the perception and the brainstorming of Third Eye and what they try to do, and try to get people out there from the area, then get them on it one after another, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to Z, and then say, this is what we have to offer. And it's right here within your block, your community. It's right here. And that's, and as you mentioned those names, I would like to be, you know, that dude and in front of the stage or whatever, just listening to one after another. And
I would love it. And as a producer, I know the beats are the hardest part to get. If you can't get beats, what are you really rapping on? You could do poetry, but if that's not what you're trying to do, then that's not what you're trying to do. So I'm willing to offer production. I've sent out hundreds of free beats. I have no problem sending out free beats to righteous people, to people who are going to make art at a great level. And I make high quality beats, in my opinion, and I make amazing sounding. You know, we can make some top 40s. If you want top 40, we can get lo-fi, we can get Doja Cat. I got a decent arrangement. It's my sound, so you're gonna get that Hendrick song. You know what I mean? You'll get that Hendrick adobo. But when I know that what's needed is production. I'd like to get to a point where, because I know that I have the equipment. My equipment to record is top notch. What I don't have is a space. What I'd like to do is eventually at some point in the future, financially get to a place where that I can rent out a place where that now I can bring people by to record. Recording out of my house during COVID is not something I'm willing to do.
Yeah,
Right?
true.
With 2 young children and a wife there. If it was just me, maybe I might risk it. But recording out of my house during COVID is not something I'm willing to do. And also, I want to create an environment where I know that it's not safe necessarily atmospheres for young ladies when it's dealing with music, especially because it's predominantly male. So I'd like to create an environment and a space where those situations are managed. You know what I mean? In a way, like we create an environment and an atmosphere where it's conducive to the creation of popular and beautiful art by people who are being marginalized, in my opinion, and voices that are being marginalized, in my opinion, and that really don't get a chance to say much unless it's something sexual.
Yes.
And that's just my opinion, but that's what I see. I'm like, man, it's like if you get a young lady on the front of the stage, if she didn't say something sexual, then she got there at an expense of something else. I want to cut a lot of that out. And if the message is sexual, then so be it. Empower the young lady. I still want it to be a balance. The same way where I thought that I need a balance from my brothers, where not everything needs to be so hard and so criminal minded, right? Well, I need the same balance. I think there's a balance out there for young ladies where not everything is going to be put in that case, but I still don't want to marginalize what women say and how they say it. I just want to put records out and I want to help them. I want to help as much as I can.
I feel you on that. I feel you on that. And I'm gonna reach out to a couple of people, especially some of the podcast people that are at Abstract Labs, Mikey Montero. I got the hoodie
my brother
right now.
Yeah.
And and I'm going to talk to them because you know what, this is all virtual. You and I are doing our thing here on this podcast, but I want to see you at Abstract Labs in that studio with Justin Montero, and you guys just going.
That's the brother.
I got to see that. So, come actually tomorrow. I'll be there. I'm gonna actually reach out to whoever I have to get you in there as a guest. And then kind of if you gotta duplicate what you just said now, then that's fine. But
me and Mikey Montero got a solid relationship. I actually toured Abstract Entertainment a couple of months ago. And it was beautiful. What a beautiful facility. Like it was like the dreamland for people who do music like me. Like you walk through there and it's just like, oh my God. That studio really inspired me to get my home studio to a level where I'm like, okay. Because I know what it costs to do that. I know what it costs to be there. I know what it costs to own that stuff. So I'm like, you know what? I got a piece my own, man. So Mikey really inspired me to make sure that I got my own stuff set because it was beautiful to see. It's something that I wanted to continuously see. So I built my own little tiny version of that at home. But yeah, man, when I toured it, I could not believe what I was looking at. I really, what a blessing to have such a place like that in the city. Because I have friends who have moved out. I have friends who live other places, who have been raised other places. And when I tell them what we have here in New Bedford, I know that maybe sometimes when you're in New Bedford, it's hard to appreciate, but take it from somebody who speaks to a lot of people outside of New Bedford who have left New Bedford. A lot of them musically, artistically, wish that they had in where they are now what we have here.
True, man. And it's interesting that you mentioned that because because of so many inspirational people have left, so many artists have left, and we kind of missed them. We missed them only because if the opportunity was here, it would have definitely blossomed. But because it wasn't here, they moved on and kind of did whatever, whether it's a career, whether it's a family, whether it's something just stops them from doing what they did, sitting within the city and feeling so much joy and happiness in it. But, and so we missed we miss that. However, they're still around. They still can inspire people, you
Yep.
know, the young ones that below them, and I hope that they are coming back to the city, giving back to the city their knowledge, because a lot of us from this area, we do go elsewhere and we get a cultural shock. We
Yeah.
get we get a cultural shock in so many different ways, um, and to me, a lot of although it was very very mentally stressful for me to be elsewhere for 5 years,
Mm.
when I was able to come back and bring it back to this community, it made me a better person, and
Mm.
and I was able to be the person I am, but right here within New Bedford, Massachusetts. So, um, but enough of me. The I want to try to play this track that I like, and
Do it.
I'm gonna try my best here. So let's do this right here. Add to the stream
Hey,
and do this right as
that's my
we see.
Spotify. Go follow me.
Yes, right. And we see our man here on Spotify. There is
Oh
just,
man.
you know, why listen to someone else when you can listen to your homegrown man right here? Hendrick,
Hey,
Hendrick is on Spotify doing his thing.
I am.
Um, so this one's titled "Of Mice and Men."
Oof.
So, and it's already been, it's second because VHS is definitely my number one. But if I have to kind of label it and say your your lyrics right here, this
Yep.
is my number one. It's solely you.
Appreciate it.
This is what I like. All right. So, of Mice and Men, y'all. Hopefully y'all can hear it. I do not want to mess this up.
Age at the border, these supporters getting way up out
There
of
it
page.
is.
This disorders out of order, got a great amount of rage. That's something that most rappers just wouldn't rhyme about, but I feel my foot is fine, and how shouldn't I be proud? Ain't never be as good as time is now. Hey, how couldn't I be down? God, cause I'm really good at this rapping stuff. You should be really good about finding out. Come on, you know Bobby don't front. Must be exhausted with all the heads you copy at once. You straight sloppy, no touch in my schedule, says I can meet you at the top of the month. But for what? Your contagious whackness at the age of Matt, I refrain from acting unless somebody's out here yelling action. When they say a certain animal's to blame, I just think all you animals the same, and I'm a god, so put respect on my name when you say it, bro. Yeah. Put some respect on my name when you say it, bro. Yeah. And I'm in, there's two different type of people in this world that's mice and men, but I'm a god, so I don't roll around where either likes it. So put respect upon my name when you say it, bruh. And I mean, so who you been losing to? I thought it was you versus you. That's how the universe moves. Time to pay some dues and put respect up on my name when you say it though. Put respect up on my name when you say it though. So who you been losing to? I thought it was you versus you. That's how the universe moves. Time to pay some dues and put respect up on my name when you say it though. Put respect up on my name when you say it though. Put respect up on my name when you say it, bro. Yeah. Put some respect up on my name when you say it, bruh. Yeah. And I'm in, there's two different type of people in this world that's mice and men, but I'm a god, so I don't roll around where either likes it. And so put respect up on my name when you say it, bruh. And I mean,
I love it.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you. So I'm humble. You see that one that just started playing right there? That one's my favorite. The Sour Notes is my favorite. That one was my favorite. I love that record. You don't gotta play it for them. They know about that one. But of Mice and Men, wow, that record is a record that took me like a year to record because it was so much going on. I didn't feel confident in my mixing ability at that point, and I held it. And then Drew Dwelly, the boxer from New Bedford, another name drop. Drew Dwelly had made a post with that song because I had sent it to him just on like a whim. he made a post with it, and it really got me like, all right, I need to go and finish that song right now and release it. If Drew said if it was good enough for Drew Dwelly and he's knocking people out, I need to stop. So I went ahead and I finished that record and I put it out, and it was, you know, I love trying to name songs after books. And I never really got a chance. And I remembered it in the midst of that. I was like, oh, I can name the song of Mice and Men, but how do I make it of Mice and Men? And then I wrote like I don't know how I came up with that chorus, Charlie. I don't know what I was doing that day, what magical power came over me when I said it. You know, there's two different type of people in this world. There's mice and men, but I'm a god, so I don't roll around with either likes of them. I might have flipped over 6 tables and ran through a crowd of 50 people with a stiff arm, good enough to run 100 yards on a Super Bowl run. I swear I was doing a backflip when I wrote that, because I couldn't believe I wrote something. Usually I'm amazing on choruses, but that was like top notch for me, even for me. So I'm happy you like that record. That means a lot.
I do. I'm gonna throw it in my podcast, and but you know what? There's something I'm gonna do even better. Every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 9, I'm on WMB1 radio, and you know, it is R&B, but I always put local people on every week. You know, and I'm gonna throw something. I'm gonna definitely, whether it's VHS tapes or whether it's of Mice and Men, I'm gonna do something. And there may be one this week, one next week, but I definitely will be playing that.
Check out Sour Notes, because Sour Notes will probably fit the mix a little better. It's a little softer and smoother. Yeah. And I promise you that by May, I'll have an R&B styled song for you. And I'll just, me, my friend, my brother Ian Morgan, and my brother Castro, many different names. He hasn't picked one yet, man. This man needs to pick one. It's Bristol County Cassius right now. So we're going to go with that. So myself, Ian Morgan, and Bristol County Cassius are going to release a song called Love Language, which will absolutely fit the R&B motif for your record, for your radio station. And you know what we'll do is we'll let you premiere it there if you want to do that, so that everybody will tune in and listen to that, because the record is going to be worth listening to.
I will definitely, and you know what? I always offer the invite, you know. So you know, you can come right in the studio, right upstairs.
I'm with that.
You come right up there, you and whoever represents you and represents the track. You know, definitely. Come on board. We'll definitely make sure that everything's on point. You know, talk to Brian, make sure there's enough microphones there, and as far as the sound, he's on point always. So
yeah, of course. We'll share a microphone if we have to. We don't care. The brothers are hungry to get out there, especially my brother Bristol County Cassius, especially him. He's hungry to get out. He should have a record out come February 1st, which will then be followed up by my brother Damien come March 1st, which will then have a record that'll follow up by our brother Jay Rifa April 1st, and then myself, Cassius, and Ian will either be in May or in June, depending on how the seasons roll around. But we're thinking maybe June, probably. If I said May, I was wrong. June is better, because it's a summer style record. You know what I mean? We want to release it at the right temperature. But that's the kind of the idea that we have with 48 Ronin. We're gonna come out as individuals at the beginning of the month. For like the next 3 or 4 months, we're going to each release our individual record. And then come the summertime, we're going to have something as a unit to represent us and include other people as well. It's not a group. It's more of a collective. It's a bunch of individuals that kind of just want to roll together and make music and represent that like really high artistic quality that we feel is missing from a lot of things. So you can look out for me, obviously, January 1st, Cassius, February 1st, Damien, March 1st, Jay Rifa, April 1st. We're expecting Raph May 1st. So let's everybody push Raph to push Raph for May 1st. And then you'll see Love Language in June. And that record should be making its rounds, you know, but we would love to bring it to WMB1 if we get a chance.
Oh, of course. You got that guarantee.
Word.
You got my word. you will be there, and
Yes, sir.
hopefully our schedules get together. We'll get our schedules, together, and we'll definitely make sure that it happens, regardless. Even if I would like it to be on my show, but I know I'm gonna push it just to be on WMB1.
We'll have it ready for you, man. Expect us in June. June 1st, around there, we'll have that record ready. And you know what? Like, I'm glad that I'm saying it here so that it pushes the other two brothers that are on the record with me to be prepared, because we got to get this thing done.
Yep. And feel free, anything that they're doing, please tag me, share me, so I can add it to the group, the really
Absolutely.
Charlie podcast group here on Facebook.
Mhm.
And you also have your own website. And
Yes, I do.
and something
I got a
that caught
couple
my
at this point. I got a Wix
yeah.
website. If you look me
Yep.
up on Wix, you know what the general public can do. If you type in Hendrick Hernandez to your Google search, you'll find everything from me, because I'm probably the most. I'm not probably. I am. I'm the most famous Hendrick Hernandez that there is. There ain't no more Hendrick Hernandezes out there that are more flavorful, that are more artistic, that are giving you more than I am. So Google doesn't even show you them. They show you me. So, so you can go. You can go to my Wix website, and that's where I have a lot of my instrumentals, because I wear the producer hat, right? And then there's the United Masters website that you can go to so you can catch up on my streaming music, right?
Okay.
You have my artist page on Apple, you have my artist page on Tidal, you have my artist page on Amazon, you have my artist page on Spotify. There are so many pages. It's difficult to keep up with all of them. So I've done myself a huge favor and just pushed myself enough to be the most famous Hendrick Hernandez on earth. So you can just Google Hendrick Hernandez. You can skip the Resto part because it's not part of my artist name.
All right.
Right. And the Resto, I actually added that because it's part of my legal birth name. And I always felt bad that when I came here to America, on all of my American documentation from Puerto Rico, right? All my Puerto Rico documentation has Resto on it, which is my mother's last name. And when I came here, we took it off because it's something that they just don't acknowledge here. But it's something that still I'm legally it's still part of me legally. So I've resurrected Resto. I've restored it, if you will, because I feel like I need to honor my mother, and I think that we were talking about this before we went live. Is my mother is a huge part of a lot of what I do, and a lot of my representation in a way, and a lot of my portrayal of myself. I want to represent her well, as well as my sisters. I don't have any brothers, so I have a really good aspect on the female thing. So Resto is not part of my artist name, but ASCAP won't let you put your full name. They either make you change it or modify it somehow. So I had to go with Hendrick Hernandez. So I'll stick with that for now. But yeah, Google search Hendrick Hernandez and you'll find all the beautiful thing that I do.
And you're not lying, because there was a bunch. There was a lot for me to copy and paste, and I was like,
it's too much. They got me here, they got me there, they got me there. The distributing sites, when you distribute through the distributing sites, they also release your songs on YouTube. So if you put it up on your page, that's great. There's a whole nother page dedicated to you from a distributor. If you switch distributors, then you got another page. It's a messy little game sometimes for guys who are doing, or guys and gals who are doing what we're doing at this level. You're a manager, you're an accountant, you're your own publicist, you're your own producer, your own engineer, your own lyricist, you're your own backup, your own security. It's scary sometimes, right? So you're everywhere.
And you got to do it. You got to do it.
Yeah.
The reason why I wrote my 15 books is because I wanted something to be on the shelf for my family to read when I pass on. And you know what? A couple of the books you wouldn't bring to church, but it's me.
That's how I feel about some of my records. Some of those records, please don't play them in church. But I mean, for the most part, I wanted to leave something for my children to be proud of, and there's not a single record that I don't feel like they can't get a good representation of their father. And my mother's the same thing for my sisters and my mother and my dad and my stepfather, at no point do I feel like they can point at any record that I've done and say that's a bad representation of us as a unit, as a family, because I thought of them. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's my record. So it's what I want. It's what I want. But I consider the fact that I was raised in a household with 5 women and I was the only male. So I consider how I speak about women on records. I consider how I've been with my wife for 16 years. I'm going to consider how I speak about relationships and how I consider, my sexuality and all of that. I'm going to consider it because there are people in my life who taught me to be considerate of those things. And I feel like I want them to be proud of me. And I don't want something as silly as a record to be the reason that they kind of look at me funny at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, Charlie, if I'm being honest, it's my record. I'm going to do what I want.
True. I got you 100%.
Yeah.
One of my favorite poems was Man, That Woman. And it's basically on that same, same. I was raised by a bunch of women, and I just go and I just kind of just said, well, let me talk about them, and it starts off Man, That Woman, and I just go into it. I wish I can recite it, but I don't. It's funny. You must go through the same thing.
Yeah.
You write so many lyrics, and sometimes it's similar, all different, and I might recite a poem, and then all of a sudden I'm reciting 2 poems because it just flew with something else I wrote a while back, and I'm like, I just don't want to mess it up. Just don't want to mess it up. But so the my last and final question, is going to be, who would you like to see on the Really Charlie podcast?
Oh man, like who I want to. I think Frederick Frederick Hallelujah is the person I'd really like to see next. My brother is an amazing, devoted, I hate to put the label of Christian rapper on him because the man makes amazing music, period. Just period. And his energy, and he's been my brother for so long. He was the first person that really patted me on the back and was like, my Lord, you're good. Yeah. And I was like, really? I see you writing all the time. Awesome. I'm good. Like he really brought the child out of me. And you know what? Where it's, how many times are you going to get somebody who's, a secular MC saying that you should bring on a non-secular MC to your podcast to discuss the things that he believes? I be honest with you, it's not that I see eye to eye with Frederick on every single thing that he talks about and the things that he believes, but I respect his energy and his devotion and his discipline, most of all, to what he believes. Because if there's anything that the RZA and Wu-Tang Clan taught me about 5% knowledge, is that it's more of anything, it's a discipline. It's a science, and I respect how he respects his science, and I respect how he respects his music and how much love and energy he puts into it. And I feel like that's, when me and my brother get around each other, it's all love all the time, man. And it's somebody that I absolutely adore, and whose voice I want to hear more of. He's one. I will say Testify, my sister Amanda. She's the other person, and she's the same way. She's a young lady who raps and creates lyrics that are dedicated to the Lord. And it's, maybe it's not something I'm in the lane of, but it's something that I respect so much. I respect what they do. I respect their discipline. Either one of them are great voices. I think having both of them would be a fantastic thing to see, because Frederick's so animated and Amanda's so, mild tempered. They would very well not clash, and they would interact very well. I think that they would be fantastic to bring on. But yeah, those are the 2 people I'd like to see on the Real Charlie podcast next.
We're gonna you get me that contact.
Absolutely.
And I have some available weeks in January and February. A lot of dates. So I like to do it as soon as that. Only because it would be nice having a
I agree.
podcast right after yours, and the people that you're recommending, and they're right after that. And so when you go to YouTube, it's like boom, 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 boom. It's like,
Yep.
and that's
Agreed.
that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm gonna work on that. And but I gotta, you know, this is one of my favorite podcasts here, only
Same.
because
That was
we
beautiful
we
interview.
we didn't do this, man. We waited, we waited, and it's here, and everything that I anticipated was boom right here on the screen.
Hey,
And
it all worked out. Hey, and again, don't feel bad for not inviting me over the last year. I was nowhere. I was at home being a dad. I was not being a musician or an artist, which is something that I am no matter what, even if I'm not making music, but I wasn't producing. I wasn't writing. I wasn't doing anything. And a big thank you to Matt Martinez and the reality crew and Linnell Walker for really putting a battery in my back for to make me come up out of my grave, because
mhm.
they really did. And the accumulation of that is what's coming out on January 1st. The accumulation of Hendrick Hernandez, which is aptly named by my brother Ian Morgan, who I love so much. Thank you for the name, Poppy. I really appreciate that. But you can catch that on all streaming platforms January 1st. As soon as you wake up, or if you haven't gone to sleep, which I doubt you guys will because it'll be New Year's, stream my music as soon as the New Year starts on all major streaming platforms. I don't care if you're on Deezer. I don't care if you're on Napster. I'm there. You'll find me. And it's, again, if you're on those sites, it's free. So just play me. You're doing me a favor. You're doing yourself a favor playing such amazing music by people that are, you know what I'm saying, not really getting paid much for this.
Uh-huh. Well, 2022, the Really Charlie podcast will start its year with you. And
Oh, beautiful.
we will
Yeah.
we will have that music playing that day on the
Mm.
podcast, and sharing it and doing my thing, and
Yes. I'm happy to hear that, man. I'll be
all right,
watching. I'll be
yeah,
there.
all right. And as we continue to as we close on this podcast, we're here through StreamYard, Anchor, Spotify, Facebook, and YouTube. So I'm gonna definitely, and you mentioned, I can't let you mention about, just Google your name. Well, the funniest thing is I Google your name and it's on my YouTube channel,
See,
and I'm like, I we didn't even air anything, but he's there, he's part of it, so
I'm there, baby.
I love you, brother. You
I love you
continue
too, God.
you continue to be the great man you are, the great father you are,
Thank
an
you.
awesome husband you are, and
Thank you.
continue to you know be that man that we're proud of. And I'm clearly proud of you.
Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate you having me here. I appreciate having the opportunity. I'm happy that I'm worthy. You know what I mean? Because it's something that I go through on a daily basis, and stuff like this really affirms when I look back and I go, man, was I supposed to release this music? No, absolutely. I got on Charlie's podcast, and if nothing else comes out of it, then I'm happy. So I appreciate you, God. Thank you so much.
You made my day. You made my night. You made this podcast much more beautiful than what it
Thank you.
usually is, and I really, really appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, Charlie.
All
Appreciate
right.
you, man.
Take care, man. God bless.
Peace.
Peace. Awesome. You can't get better than that. This dude is, I met him probably 2017, but I probably always knew of him, but he's grown into a great young man, great man, and he's doing wonderful, wonderful things with his music. The lyrics are definitely worthy, and it just puts that positive light on some things, and it becomes inspirational. And as he collaborated with some other local artists, and uh, I was glad to see that. I was very, very happy to see that. And they all reached out to each other. They all spoke highly of each other, and it was great. So continue to listen to the Really Charlie podcast and view it. I appreciate all your comments, tremendous comments out there, and I really, hey, this made my night. And he mentioned Darnell Staley. He will be on the podcast next week. And another local artist, a rapper, and he's doing wonderful things. And he will be on next week. This week we have, let's see, we have I'll be from Packer. He'll be here talking about the unhoused people that are on the street, and they have a gathering center at Packer that's open. That's open for people to go in. So he's going to talk about that. We also have your CBD store that's in Tiverton, Rhode Island. They'll be on, and they'll be on the 30th. So continue to support this podcast, and thank you for the comments. I see y'all out there. Thank you for supporting me. This really, really means a lot. All right. Thank you. God bless. See you Wednesday night. All right. Take care.